Welcome to RacerTV's Behind the Bars. This is episode number 2, the 2007 Spartan from Sparta, Kentucky. I'm Mikey Waynes, and my co-host today is going to be GNCC Junior Trail Boss and overall GNCC Dirt Bike 2-wheel, 4-wheel historian, Jared Bolton. Jared, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. Hanging out here at home like most people, and just enjoying, looking around at the random stuff I got hanging on the walls, because that's kind of all I'm doing other than getting on this show.
Your background is better than mine. My garage looks pretty cool, but my Wi-Fi did not work out there. I was super bummed about it. Also joining us on the show today to co-host is GNCC Trail Boss, Mr. Jeff Russell. Jeff, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, Mike?
Not too bad, man. You running the water truck for fun or what?
No, I actually got it in here waxing. That's why it's shining there. Nothing else to do. So I might as well clean it up and make it.
That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. Now, in addition to our co-host here, we have got with us today 9-time GNCC ATV champ, Bill Balance out of Oakland, Kentucky. Bill, it's so good to see you, man. How you been?
Been doing good. Stay busy these days on the farm and do a little fishing for fun, but everybody's doing good. Family's doing good, and can't complain. We're just all ready for this coronavirus thing to get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Nailed it on the head right there. And he's probably distracted you this entire time. He's got his bottle of Crown ready. We're talking about the 8th all-time winningest ATV rider, Mr. Adam McGill, the Gator. Adam, are you all right?
I am good. How are you guys?
Doing great. Be doing a lot better if you looked halfway normal, man. What have you been up to?
Oh, I would have an answer to tell you, but I got to keep it PG. Just living at home. Living at home.
Yeah.
We've got the puppies, and the wife's work from home now, and we've made 4 days consecutive, and we're still together, so we're all good.
This is definitely testing everybody's relationship right now. All right, well, we know who the hosts are. We know who our special guests are with Bill Balance and Adam McGill. Again, this is the 2007 Spartan from Sparta, Kentucky. Let's jump right into it. It's I don't know about you guys, but it's good to know we're still using the In the Dirt song. I like that.
Hey, that'll never go away. It's just like Baba O'Reilly, aka Teenage Wasteland.
I think you're exactly right. You're exactly right.
Can I talk?
Yeah, jump right in, man. This is just about as fun as it gets.
You know what blows me away is that I think this has been on Rodney's iTunes mix list since 80.
You're probably right.
Def Leppard sucks.
Yeah. So Bill, coming into this race, you didn't have the points lead. Chris Borich, I believe, was coming off like 4 wins in a row or something like that. Where did you feel any pressure? You got that number 1 plate. Did you have any pressure going into this race?
I remember that year having a pretty rocky start. We had some issues, a couple gremlins at a few of the races. I think we had 1 DNF actually at the first race, but then just a couple little silly things that just happens from time to time after that. And I knew that it was a good time to start doing something to winning races and get back in it, because you just couldn't sit back and just keep waiting and let things get away from you.
Was Borich kind of the guy on your mind with those wins he had going into that one, or was it just I got to focus, I got to ride within my own helmet?
Borich was really riding good. He was putting himself up there all the time, and youth was on his side and all those things. But I knew that my biggest problems was just getting myself where equipment and everything just worked out smooth and get to the finish line without having troubles or problems.
Yeah, exactly. Now, how about you, Adam? I believe this, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this was your 2nd year as an XC1 Pro. And I know the folks at home can't hear them talking right now, but dude, you're not even on the radar, man.
I was just some chubby kid from West Virginia with highlights. That's all I was. You know what was crazy? So coming into this race, the biggest thing I was concerned was what kind of French fries they had at the trackside store. But we had so my rookie year, we had a pretty decent year. We ended up getting 3 podiums my first year in pro, and then my second year, which was this year, I got a little bit of help from a local dealership, picked up a few sponsors and things like that. And actually, this is one of the races that put me on the map. Years ago, there was another one, but this one here really kind of, I guess, brought it to the forefront, let people know I was a contender.
These are quite
highlights.
Yeah. Oh, we're getting to that. Wait till you see Boric later on when they interview him with the sideways flat bill and the puka shell necklace. It's beautiful.
That was a thing.
I know. I'm from the same age group. I'd be lying if I didn't sit here and say I did the exact same thing. It's terrible.
I think we all have. I don't think there was one guy that hasn't.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You know what's crazy is, look, Jeff Russell, look how close they are to the track. You just black flag them.
Yeah, I know. I watched this yesterday, and I'm like thinking, man, I didn't have a water truck back in those.
Oh man.
No, we didn't. God, I just like looking at this to me is just like, oh my God.
We didn't seem to get nature's water truck as much back then either. It seems like we went through a few dry years back around that time.
It was the start of global warming.
That's right. Yeah.
Bill, what was it like? I know we've had a lot of riders on the pro level. Brothers get to race on the pro level together. What was it like racing against your brother and him pulling the whole shot in this one?
Well, that actually in 07 and 08, my brother Brandon, he was a contender. He was up in the top with guys, and if there was one thing he got on right there for a couple of years was getting starts. I mean, he just nailed them. But I don't know how many times that we would take off and he would get the whole shot just because he wanted to get it. But then he'd get 2 or 3 miles into the woods and wave 3 or 4 guys around and then jump in behind them. But he wanted to get that start.
That's pretty solid.
But the other thing I just noticed watching this race too, it's like there was a field of 23 in the pro class. I mean,
yeah,
you got a bad start then. You're back there.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that when they used to have so many in the front row and the second row that it was like a concern to get to the line quick enough? Because that was before you did the stakes. I remember sitting on the line from the second row and having to get there like right as soon as the morning took off. It was chaos. It was
camped out.
You can't go there before a half hour before the start because it used to be there would be more crates and things on the starting line that nobody could even get out there.
Yeah.
There we go. There it is on screen. Look at Chris Boric's crooked flat bill, the earrings, and the puka shell necklace. It looks like one of my senior pictures.
He still dresses that way today, doesn't he?
A little bit.
You know what? It was like that was cool. I mean, I had my ears pierced. I didn't have my ears pierced when I was then, but I had the puka shell, whatever that is. I don't even know what it was. Was it a seashell or was it a rock?
I don't know. It was something you buy from one of those t-shirt stores that there's a million of at any beach, so you could feel like a surfer.
They would twist together.
And when
they twist together, they get stuck. You had to like cut them to get them off.
Yep. Terrible.
You remember? Oh my God! Iron cross bumpers. I mean, that was when like the manufacturers were getting into it. Those were good times.
It's not that fun anymore, or was that what you're saying?
Well, Jeff Russell took all the fun out of it. I still enjoy it. I still enjoy promoting. I still enjoy the racing end of it. But it's a whole different crowd now of people, and it's different than what it was then. It's even more different than what it was when I started. It's like the evolution of the sports changed and the riders have changed, and it's nuts.
Adam, what was right before they went into commercial there, you had taken the lead. 19-year-old baby boy out in front of a guy like Bill Balance. Were you just like, holy crap, I can't believe I'm up front right now? What was going through your head at that moment?
Well, contraire, I took it from his brother. So.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, you are correct. Sorry.
Yeah. And I went by and I looked over. And I was like, that's what I did. No, that was I don't know. Like that race it was like almost surreal. It was really weird how everything played out, but it's still a sucky ass race if you ask me at the end.
So, Jeff, I know this was, we talked a little bit before the show, and Bolton too, I guess, both of you. This is some fresh trail for these guys, but I thought it was the first time we'd raced there. That actually wasn't the case.
No, it was not the case. That was a unique area because the speedway was there, and they did the intro that you could race. We've raced on both sides of the speedway, the south side of the interstate and the north side of the interstate. It was like just a huge piece of property. And going back to Adam, I mean, the only field sections in this race were coming to the finish line and a little bit right there. I mean, it was a true cross-country race, back in those days. I mean, there wasn't much parking. If we tried to get up there now, it'd probably be, years got there, it'd be full.
Yeah.
You remember?
I know we did.
You remember the mud race we had there?
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
How about that Bidwell bullet on screen? There are some big names in the youth ranks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there is.
It was weird. They never had it when I was there.
I do remember the first time I ever seen Adam on the track. This was at Jeff's dad's place at Millfield. It was a mud race that day, I believe. Is that
Okay.
right?
Where was it at?
Millfield, there at the Penton.
Yeah.
Mud race.
I thought the Russells owned that.
You were running XC2 then, maybe?
Yep.
Everything got all jungled up and lots of bottlenecks and stuff. And I remember third or fourth lap, you were right in there with us, up leading the race.
Yeah, that was a good one. So that was the race that hell I caught you guys from the second row, lap 2 or 3, and physically got the lead and then run out of fuel, which is the story of my life. And lost it there too. Ended up losing by like 20 seconds, I think.
Yeah.
From what I remember. But yeah, I mean that was a mess. I remember like this race talking about it. I mean nobody had campers then. Everybody went to hotels. We slept I remember sleeping in my trailer, sweating my ass off some nights or freezing to death.
Mm-hmm.
But we were men.
Adam, who's got a better mustache back in the day, your dad or Joe Borich?
My dad, because it's never came off yet.
His mustache might be older than you.
He did shave it one time when I was younger, and I
Freaked you out.
Like you see on TV, I was just like, "Who's that?"
So, Adam, by the time this one was said and done, we know where you ended up. Well, for those that have not seen the finish of this, I won't ruin it. Oh, look at that! There's the highlights and the necklace.
Yep,
look at that.
See, I told you I just didn't have the earrings yet.
So you were 19, I believe, right? And obviously, by the end of this, you're going to podium. For those that have not seen this, we'll save it for the finish. But I think, Griff, correct me if I'm wrong, you were the youngest at that point to get an overall podium out of XC1. Is that right?
Maybe. Jeff Russell will be the one to answer that. I'm not 100%. I think Walker has it now, or we might have been the same age. I don't remember. I got a podium at 16 or 17. Was the youngest? I don't know. I think Walker might have been the same age.
I'd say you're pretty close. And then I think Barry was like 17 or 18 when he won his first race. That was pretty young too.
Yeah. Pretty young.
You know what? How old was Hunter Hart last year with a win at Ironman?
18, because he's 19.
Yeah.
Okay, well there you go. Wow,
that's pretty good too.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
Yeah, I think I got my first overall at when I was 19 there. I didn't turn 20 till May the next year. I think I got an overall at 19.
So, Bill, at this point in the race, you're starting to make that charge. I think, Adam, you were up by when you guys came through the pits. There was a pretty big gap there. Bill, what's a veteran at this point? So many wins, that number one plate. Are you cool, calm, collected at this point, or at this point you're kind of like, okay, I may end up with a second here?
Actually, they had been giving me pit boards every time we would come through, and giving me what the time difference and everything was. And I remember dealing with some arm pump at the start of that race for a little while, but then once everything pulled down, I was able to get back in the gas and crawl along. And as the laps was going on, I would close it down, for a couple laps, maybe 10 or 15 seconds, and then going into the last lap, I closed it down to 20 seconds or so or something. I was starting to seize dust again in some of the places. So I knew I was making time. And anytime that happens, that just kind of pumps you up inside and gets your adrenaline going a little harder.
Does it got the adrenaline going right now, kind of make you want to line up with these guys again?
Oh, there's not a day that goes by that I haven't missed racing from the day that I quit. It's once you do something like that for that many years, it just becomes part of who you are, and you'll never get away from it. And the body gets older, but the mind still feels like it's 18 years old. And I can go do that,
We've got vet classes.
Yeah, every once in a while you get a reality check.
I agree to that. And what's crazy is I can agree with that, like none of it. But if I would agree with some of it, I would agree with the age part of it. It definitely plays a role in how you think and your reaction time. And so,
how old are you now, Adam?
33. And I get asked all the time, like, how many years are you going to do it? How much are you going to stay in it? How, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, I really don't know. I don't have an answer. I mean, I'm working on stuff outside the industry, or not outside the industry, but inside the industry, outside of racing. But everybody still values me as a racer. So it's hard for me to step away when I'm still valued as that.
Yeah.
So badass. Look at my dad. He had no belly.
Well, yeah. The old gear I love. It's not quite the nostalgia of like the 90s Jeremy McGrath, but
no,
boy, it's still pretty daggone cool back in the day.
I remember the graphics. I remember sending fenders to PG Graphics, which is now they're gone, down in North Carolina or South Carolina, and sending them fenders so they can install a full custom graphic kit that was like $600 or $800 then to make.
That's insane.
And you were probably one of the only quad guys they did. PG was never real big into the quad scene, so you were like a rare breed to them.
Yeah, I was like the unicorn, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of stuff was, just different. The tires, the selection was different. The bikes, we run bikes that were like super skinny, taller ride heights, it was you built stuff to last. You didn't build it for performance. You built stuff so it lasted all year. I remember getting my first set of tire flats, like tire balls. Then obviously I run blocks now, but I remember buying my first set of tire balls and being like, I don't have to stop for anything ever. And then I broke a lot of stuff. So, wow. I was talking about Chris Jenks the other day, and one of my friends run into him up here.
What's he do now?
Drinks beer and rides a side by side. That's it. I think he's still got his last year quads he raced. I think it was the black one. I think he still got it, but that's it. As far as his Honda stuff, I know he don't have any of his Can-Am stuff anymore. That's it. His dad Raymond's doing pretty good. They're still just hanging out.
Wow.
So talking about how much stuff changed, like Bill, obviously you saw a lot of change too. You came up through the 250R days and then into the Yamaha days. So what was it like for you to see that change over the years?
It was. It changed a huge amount from the time that I started. I remember when I first started racing, I was actually on a Banshee to start, and the whole spectrum of my bike setup was a set of ITP tires, a set of front shocks on it, and twin exhaust pipes. No stabilizer, no nothing else, And you take 3 or 4 rear tires and 3 or 4 front tires with you, spares, and you change them with a ratchet. But as it progressed and changed, and the factories come into it, it just progressed and went from the 2-stroke rides and building one-off bikes where you took a chassis and put a 250R motor on it, and aftermarket companies from one end to the other to build a quad. And then when the factories come in, that was the biggest. It was kind of tough because when the factories come in, they wanted to have as much stuff of theirs on the race bike as possible. And you had all these, for years, you had all these companies that you were associated with, and that's how you afford to race. That's who paid your deals. That's where all your bonuses come from. And trying to mix all that together and make it work was a little bit tough for a few years, but all in all, it worked out as time went on.
Did you see the dual lanes for the checkpoints?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I remember going through tech back in the day. God, I hate remembering all this stuff. I remember going through tech and you had the punch card.
So how about this? How well do you remember this?
This is wild. This is wild.
Yeah. Shut up, Mikey.
Who's that on the outside that just blew by that guy?
That's somebody cherry picking.
Adam, I'm going to say something here. I was watching it yesterday, and I couldn't remember the race, until I watched it, and I was like, but I watched Bill Balance do that to Chris Voigt an awful lot as well. So don't feel bad if it happened to you.
Yeah. I guess at the end of the day, I did get the last laugh because I'm still here.
Yeah, he's still doing it.
Yeah. So do you remember we was talking about the punch cards? Remember going through tech and they punch them with like spades or diamonds or remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
My God.
Even earlier than that, like write your number down.
Yeah, it was a bad
barrels. It used to each class. There might be 2 classes on some barrels, but there would be 12 barrels out there, and you had to go through the one for your class to get your number recorded. That was the way it was tricked back then. It went way back then.
I remember seeing an old Blackwater tape I got that's like that. I've even got pictures and old videos from like 2002 Wisp, Loretta Lynn's, Roush Creek. I've got some really old stuff.
Wow.
Jeff, you were talking shortly before we started the show about you've got to win, or excuse me, you've got to lose a race before you can start winning some races. Talk to us a little bit about that point you were making, kind of referencing, Caleb Russell, Walker Fowler, and then in this case, Adam.
Well, I just kind of, back in the 90s when Barry was, the guy and Bill was coming up, and I'm sure Bill can relate to some of these that, Barry would just find a way to win right at the end. And then when Bill was a guy, it's like he turned to that same thing. It's like he was always there, and I watched him win so many races like that throughout his career. And then, and then I was like, you have to lose a race to win a race. And then Adam comes out the next year. I was looking at the results. I was like, I wonder how that affected him. And I'm sure he never forgot that all winter long. And then he comes out and wins 3 of the first 4 races the next year. And I was like, that must still hold true. I bet that dug at you for a long time, didn't it, Adam?
That was pretty bad. There's a bunch of things that you don't. It's bad because you only remember you remember some good stuff, but all the bad stuff is what kind of sticks out in your mind. I can still remember that mistake, and I hate you guys. You guys are assholes to make me watch that.
Put you through the torture, man.
So, oh my God. I mean, you remember everything. You remember the gear. You remember, put your stuff on. You remember everything that leads up to that moment there, and you grow from it. So for me, learning from that was, you don't. I never learned from it right there. Obviously, I'm like, oh, I don't want to make that mistake again. But I think over time you did, and it's just, I guess it's just being more seasoned than the next. I used to just hold it open instead of being smart picking lines. I used to just hold it wide open. Hell with it.
And that was the way back when I was racing with Barry. I went through once I finally got the speed to actually run with him and do it for a whole race. You go for a season of leading the race thinking you're going to get it, and then last 2 miles or 3 miles you get past and take second again. And I can remember the last couple of years that Barry was still on quads. Racing was different. I mean, the speed was a factor. You had to be fast enough to stay up there and be a contender. But I can remember it was a challenge of who could walk the track and find the best lines. And the last 3-4 miles of a track, you would dissect. And if there was a 3-inch growing tree, that's 3 inches in diameter, but you hit it just hard enough, you can bash that thing over and cut through a corner or something. And there was so many races won that way. And towards the last couple of years of Barry's racing that he was still in quads, I can remember numerous times we would back and forth and come to the last lap. Going in the last lap, there were times where we would stop and look at each other. Nobody wanted to be the first in front because, he had 2 or 3 lines that he knew was still there, and I had 2 or 3 that was still there. And the question was who had the last one? And as time went on, racing changed too. And lines were always important, and they still are today, I'm sure, trying to find the best place to make a pass if you have to and need it on the last lap. But as time went on, it turned into a full long charge, pretty much everything you had for 2 hours. And it didn't so much boil down to just one line here, one line there. It could win you the race, but it wasn't. The training started becoming a factor, and who could push it to every single turn the fastest, in and out for 2 hours straight, and never back down. That was the way racing was trending as I got out of it.
Yeah. So when I was coming up through, I remember paying dues in the pro class. That's when there were dues to be paid. I got beat around like a ping pong ball for years. And I remember that it was pick your lines, last the whole race, don't make any mistakes, don't any flats, and then towards the end you race. And then it was stepped up to the training, and then the race picked up. And then it got to the point where the machines could stay together. And now it's like it went from a race kind of to a full-on sprint, and now it's like, you make one mistake. So now, anyway, it's nuts. When we're separated by tenths of seconds, who's got a little more motor, a little more traction to make this turn quick for the next guy, and it's way different.
It blows my mind how 2007, now it's 2020, and I know we've only had 3 races this year, but we still see, not just the pro level, but on down to the youth level, you guys can go out there and race for 2 hours. The bikes can race for 3 hours on Sunday, and it's still this close sometimes. Maybe not for a win, but even just a second or a third place, how close you guys can be over a race that long just boggles my mind. It's unreal.
Yeah,
maybe I'm alone on that. I don't know.
Well,
I agree with you 100%, because it's like when you watch some of those old Blackwater videos and stuff, there were times those guys were winning by 10 minutes sometimes, which that's not always the best example because that was just such an extreme case. But when you go from huge gaps to just a few seconds at the end of 2 or 3 hours, that says a lot about you guys as athletes.
Jared said huge.
Huge, right.
Well, hey, to wrap up, I wanted to give both Adam. We kind of know what you're doing, man, but I wanted to give both Adam and Bill a chance to kind of talk about what you're doing right now. We'll start with Adam. We know you're still on the front line of XC1, and you kind of alluded to this earlier. You're sort of making that transition, and I'll toot your own horn here. Please don't make an innuendo out of that. That you're always at the youth races, cheering those guys on, and what's kind of the goal when racing ends for you? Where are we going to see the Gator?
Well, I'm hoping that your paycheck will help fund everything I want to do. So unimportant.
Sure. Yeah, there you go. That sounds great.
No, for me, the only thing that's keeping the ATV industry alive is youth. It's the young kids coming up that want to build an ATV or buy an ATV and come to the races and race. Nobody makes an ATV. Nobody cares to make an ATV at this point. So it doesn't really even matter at that point for really any involvement. So to keep people involved, people are going to still buy ATVs. So I still show up to the lines, one, because I truly love it. And it's something that I never was given when I was younger. Coming up through, I never had really respect, or nobody would really ever give me the time of day to talk to me, as a chubby fat kid with the hookah shell necklace. And to be where I'm at now, I always told my parents, I said, I'll never be that guy to ever turn a kid away. And there's many times I'll be like going to the line and still be taking care of things. And, whether it be signing autographs or, selling a T-shirt or doing stickers or pictures or whatever it is, I always try to be that guy that's always there. I watched the podcast, not to get super deep, but we're going to get pretty deep right now. Bolton, you ready for this?
Put your boots on.
So I listen to podcasts quite often, and it asked me, what do you want to leave? What do you want from this life? What do you want? Everybody says monetary. Everybody says live forever. Everybody says all this other bullshit that doesn't mean anything. 95%.
And you got a bleep button.
So 95% of your answers are crap. Okay. But what do you really want out of this life? Okay. I spent 18 years racing GNCC. Okay. So I got to thinking about it. And what I really want to leave behind is a legacy and a lasting impression for years to come, because this sport is so very year to year basis that you could be forgotten. But I don't want to leave 18, 20, 30 years, however I'm here, leave it and it be forgotten. So that's my thing, is what I'm trying to do, I guess, in this whole big roundabout picture, is leave a legacy and leave a lasting impression behind for multiple years to come.
I like it. I like it, buddy. Look at Adam McGill pouring his heart out. Look at that. Beautiful. That's what racing behind bars does, or Crown. Crown may do it too. Well, what about you, Bill? I know we've not seen you at at the GNCCs. You talked about doing some fishing. What has Bill Balance been doing with all the extra time?
I stay busy working, mainly on the farm. My dad's kind of stepped aside, and I pretty much been managing that, and got several thousand acres that we're farming. So that keeps me busy. And my two girls, they're heavily into sports. My wife, Tyra, she played basketball through school, and they've kind of followed in her footsteps. And Lauren, that was something, this fell out of a book here just a minute ago. This right here was something, I don't know if you guys can see that. This right here was about the stage my girls were in when I retired. They might have been a year older, but real close to that. And they're both sitting here now, and one of them's just getting ready to graduate high school, and the other one's going into high school. And, watching them grow up and the things that they've done, that's been pretty special to me. And, it wasn't but just 3 or 4 months ago that I bought back. It was the last carbureted quad that I won a championship on at Ironman, 08, I think. And I bought it back, and I've been refurbishing it and putting it back new. And been thinking about it a little bit now that the girls are older. I was thinking about getting back out and riding some and showing up at a race or two, run the age class or something, just to get out there and pick the dust off and have a little fun.
Well, maybe by Ironman this year we'll be racing again. You can bring it back out and whip on them.
Yeah.
Jeff or go ahead, Adam.
Speaking of that, I know where Bill's last championship 250 is at.
Your garage?
It's in a garage. It's rough. It's Jack Daniels rough, but it's there. Yep. I don't know if it's for sale, but the guy's got it, and it's still the same. I think the only thing missing from it's the thing on the front bumper that had for sale on
Wow.
Yeah, they hit him up.
Knowledge.
I've seen some pictures floating around a few months ago or something. It looked real close to one I had. I don't know if it's that one or not.
Jeff or Bolton, was there anything you guys wanted to add or ask?
Oh, I mean, as I said with the first episode, I'm so glad we're doing this. To me, it's really cool to get these guys on and have them talk about their experiences, and have Jeff in too. This 07 was a few years before I got involved in working at the races. I was just, some kid riding dirt bikes in North Carolina then. But
what was your first year?
2010. So I've been at it quite a while now.
What about you, Mikey?
For GNCC 2017.
And Jeff, since the covered wagon.
1990 was the first year at the Penton, which is now the oldest GNCC on the schedule, which kind of got me involved with doing the races, and how I met my wife, and talk about your kids growing up. And I go way back.
1990 when you got involved.
Almost out of college.
Oh my God! So we've been racing Penton since '90.
Since '90, yep.
And what was next? Is Steel Creek? Steel Creek was next, wasn't it? Or was there another one older? Ironman, maybe?
Yeah, Ironman's got a few years on Steel Creek.
I'd almost say Big Buck was probably be next. I'm guessing.
Oh my!
Yeah, Big Buck's up there.
Right. Yep, Big Buck probably.
That's way before me. I remember when they were still called the 100-milers.
Yeah. What's funny is to see how Steel Creek and the ones we used to have fields and sections in it, and now parking, and the ones we like this place in Kentucky. It's probably still a great place to go have a race, but there's just nowhere to park unless we could go use the speedway or something now. And that was kind of the whole idea when we went there. We thought we could get involved with the speedway and park there and be part of that, but it never did work out.
The speedway is still there, ain't it?
Yeah, it's still there. And actually, when they built that, there wasn't I think it was back when Nextel was the Nextel Cup, but they never even had a big race for like 2 or 3 years once they built that. It was like the Bush race.
Yeah, I actually looked last night. They didn't have a cup race until 2011. It took them. They completed that place, and actually, I think their first real race there it said 2000, which was the first year we raced there, ironically. And it took them 11 years to finally get a NASCAR Cup race.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of work that had to go into all the exits and entrance ramps and interstate and all that stuff, and they still struggle when they do it. It's a nightmare getting out of that place when a race is over, for sure.
All right. Well, with that said, I think we've got a show. I think we can start wrapping up, and I think we would to piggyback off what Bill just said. I think all of us would be thrilled if we had to fight to get out of a race right now. That would be pretty awesome. Hopefully we get back to that soon. If not, we're going to keep cranking out these videos. I think they're pretty cool. They're fun. Definitely gives us a little bit of racing action, even if we just get to sit back and play like we're sitting on a couch talking about racing, sitting in a garage talking about racing. That's what it's all about right there. So on behalf of Racer Productions, RacerTV, Jared Bolton, Jeff Russell, Bill Balance, Griff Cotter, Dan Reinhardt, and that guy right in the center of your screen, the Gator, Adam McGill. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week.